So the idea is I talk about the new book. That's the premise.
You should be walking and talking.
That's what I do, right?
Okay, I'll go.
Because I have a long history of walking and talking.
Right, so you stay there and come around the corner.
Okay.
All right.
I'll come around the corner like dramatically or?
Like you do. Come around Rob Bell style.
Like, hi friends.
Yeah. No glasses, no shaved head this time, just Rob Bell walking and talking. All right,
okay.
Here we go.
You know, we all have storms in our life.
You realize you're just parodying yourself right now.
Can we just go get some tacos?
Sure.
Good. And then we can just talk, and then you can just add whatever you want to ask about the book, we can just talk about then.
Okay.
On the way to tacos.
Is the Bible inerrant?
When someone uses like without error or inerrant or infallible to describe the Bible, they're essentially saying they wish they had a different kind of book. The Bible doesn't exist in those categories. Nobody has to be conflicted about the Bible. You don't have to get all tied up in knots about it. You can just read it and engage with it and let it be whatever it is. I've heard people ask, you know, what do you do if you read something in the Bible and you don't agree with it? What? Like whether I agree with it or disagree, that's irrelevant. What's interesting is why did people tell these stories? Why did people feel the need to write these things down? And why did these stories, poems, rants, why did they endure? Why have they lasted for thousands of years?
Who is this book for?
Everybody. And that's actually the problem.
What do you mean?
Is that religion has hijacked the Bible, and so we need to take it back. So for a lot of people, the Bible is a religious book. It exists over there with those people, when it is first and foremost a book about what it means to be human. It's for all of us.
What about David and Goliath?
That's in the book.
How about Revelation?
That's in the book.
What about heaven?
That's not in the book.
Calvinism.
That's who?
Can I ask you about Jonah and the whale?
That's in the book.
What about the Bible?
That's in the book. What's interesting is how many of those stories in the Bible that appear to be primitive and barbaric were actually a step forward. For example, like the Noah and the flood story. There were lots of flood stories. Lots of ancient cultures told flood stories. In those ancient flood stories, the story ends with the gods wiping everybody out. In the Bible, there's a flood story about a man named Noah and his family, and it ends with that God saying, I'll never do this again, which was a giant step forward. So oftentimes the passages that people dismiss as primitive and barbaric were actually enlightened and progressive for their time. So you have to read the Bible in terms of evolution, in terms of expanding human consciousness. That's interesting.
What about Revelation?
That's in the book.
How about Adam and Eve?
That's in the book.
Resurrection?
That's in the book.
The table of contents?
That's actually in the book. Okay. Anger, rage, doubt, betrayal, a growing gap between the rich and poor. What do you do when someone has wronged you and your bitterness towards them is eating you alive? Those questions are with us more than ever because there's a deep human longing to know that we're not alone. And when you can see that people have wrestled with these same exact issues for thousands and thousands of years, it does something to you. And when you realize that really brilliant, wise minds have applied themselves to some of these fundamental human questions and have actually had fascinating, interesting, compelling, unexpected things to say, who doesn't need help? Who doesn't need guidance? Who doesn't need reminders that they're not the first person to struggle with this?